We've had 9 wet weather affected German Grand Prix in the past. Guess what? We've got a 10th today. Welcome along to the German Grand Prix in 2019, the 37th and possibly the last for the foreseeable future here at Hockenheim, where Pole has won 18 of the previous 36 races. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a tentative start for everybody, but Hamilton gets away well, as does Bottas, and Verstappen's dropping back as Raikkonen is already ahead of him as well. Verstappen on the inside of Grosjean going wide. Valtteri Bottas through turn 1. That'll give Kimi Raikkonen encouragement. Where's Pierre Gasly? He's heading backwards in the Red Bull as well. Into turn 2. Hamilton from Bottas, who's made up for the mistake. Raikkonen, Verstappen, Grosjean. Then comes Sainz and Hulkenberg. Gasly and Leclerc going wide. There is the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi.
The Red Bulls were very slow away, Verstappen particularly, so they had an awful start. They just did not get the car rolling.
Romain Grosjean makes up a place up to 5th, Sainz 6th, Hulkenberg 7th, Gasly's now down in 8th place. Down the inside goes the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg and Romain Grosjean, and Hulkenberg and Grosjean touch wheels. Sainz has to take to the escape road. At the back, Sebastian Vettel's made up 6 places already.
Yeah, Vettel having a great first 5 corners, to say the least. And so is Leclerc. Leclerc's right up there now as well.
Gasly squirming away, he's got no grip whatsoever. It's like a slow motion replay almost for the Red Bull driver. He just can't find the grip. But out in front, Lewis Hamilton continues to lead as Gasly and Sainz go wheel to wheel now, heading towards the stadium section as through the gloom they come. Perez looking for a move on Magnussen. Gasly just ahead of Carlos Sainz, and very, very unsteady there from the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. That'll give Sergio Perez even more encouragement.
So Vettel pinned in 14th at the moment. Leclerc is up to 6th. Leclerc up to 6th, but what a start from Raikkonen, the wise old head of Kimi Raikkonen.
Verstappen has got Kimi Raikkonen into the hairpin. Verstappen is ahead and up to 3rd place. That looked to me like Sergio Perez had got Kevin Magnussen. Yes, he has. Perez now up into the points again in 10th place. Magnussen's got back ahead of Sergio Perez. Sebastian Vettel now up to 13th. He's managed to get past Daniel Ricciardo as well. Oh, there's a spin! There's a spin. It's Sergio Perez, who did very well if he managed to avoid the wall, and I don't think he has, because look at the rear wing of the Racing Point, and Perez is out of this race. Sergio Perez, he's behind Kevin Magnussen, and there he goes, sailing, literally, to the other side of the track.
He barely tickled the throttle, did he, coming out of there? He just had no grip at all. This is the key thing
and
now.
They're coming in as well.
Which teams are geared up to double stack close running drivers in the same team?
They're all coming in, Martin. 2.6 seconds stop time for Hamilton, but Bottas getting caught out because he had to stay stationary whilst other cars went past. Almost double the time, and Max Verstappen still gets out behind Valtteri Bottas, so no damage done in terms of losing a place to the Red Bull. Leclerc came in, Ricciardo came in, and Sainz as well. This is what happened down at Haas. Romain Grosjean, Grosjean had to slam on the brakes there as the Ferrari made its exit. Here comes Charles Leclerc then into the first corner on the inside, and Kevin Magnussen has to take a bit of curb there to keep out of the way of the Haas, but gets better traction going out of turn 1, the drag race towards turn 2. The Ferrari wins out easily, and the problem...
If he can slow it down.
He can, but not really quick enough. Comes back onto the track, stays ahead. Magnussen might lose out because he's compromised, and now the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg says thank you very much. Charles Leclerc, you've just earned me a place there. Hulkenberg gets past Magnussen. Leclerc's in 4th.
Yeah, Hulkenberg's going to fancy a run at the Ferrari. He's got nothing to lose, has he? He doesn't care.
It's a couple of times now Leclerc's gone very, very deep into the slow corners. This time it's Hulkenberg who goes deep in the hope of getting a better amount of traction on the exit of it. Stays behind Leclerc, but this is a great scrap that's ensuing now between the other German runner in this race, Nico Hulkenberg and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
This is what Sebastian Vettel has been up to. Robert Kubica on the left-hand side. Kimi Raikkonen just ahead. Ooh, and how did he not make contact there with Robert Kubica? Fine piece of avoidance driving. Lando Norris getting passed down the inside by Kimi Raikkonen as well.
The 3 at the front are travelling much faster than anybody else, especially Lewis Hamilton.
So at the moment, Magnussen's rather holding up this trio, and that's helping Sebastian Vettel. Look, as Kimi Raikkonen struggling for traction there. Sebastian Vettel alongside him into turn 1. This could be interesting as they concertina up. Magnussen can't take it as fast as he would like to because he's on the slower tyre. Kimi Räikkönen says thank you very much indeed. I thought for one moment Sebastian Vettel was going to come out on top in this battle. Charles Leclerc needed some very quick reactions to stay in this race there, Martin.
Yeah, he dropped his left rear wheel over the curb on the outside. That's the drag racing start line. That is going to be so slippery. Look at it. And standing water for good measure. Well held, young man.
Here in our little commentary box, high up in the grandstand overlooking those pit walls, it's absolutely bone dry and I'm loving the action here.
Up.
That is Daniel Ricciardo, and that looks like a massive engine problem for the Renault driver, and a visor full of God knows what for Pierre Gasly, who's got ahead of Danny Kvyat.
Yeah, he passed Kvyat in the middle of all of that.
Daniel Ricciardo has, I think, got to the Mercedes-Benz grandstand and pulled over to the side of the track and parked it in a safe place. DRS is now enabled. It's the first time we've actually had DRS in this race. It is, isn't it? So that will help Max Verstappen in his pursuit now of Valtteri Bottas. He's got a few more weapons at his disposal, and he's having a look down the hairpin. He's got it all wrong because Bottas was there for the taking, he thought, and in the end the gap just went away from him, and to avoid contact he had to go way deeper on the apex than he would have wanted, and look how that has cost Max Verstappen. Oh, that is Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz has managed to keep the engine running, and that's down at that drag racing strip again at the final turn.
He's done the same as Leclerc nearly did, hasn't he? Yeah, he's gone on to that, there we go, that's the skating rink, the drag strip. Lucky to keep that going as well. Vettel then pits for slick tyres. They're in the clouds of the gods now. If it doesn't rain, they're going to look very smart and they'll get up to temperature eventually, as long as they don't fly off the road.
Medium tyres going on to the Red Bull, not the softs, it's the medium. To the end of the race, well, there's a long way to go to the end of this race. Has Verstappen just been off the track?
Oh, he's had the spin there. Oh, look at that. Underneath it, doesn't do the underneath the car, and all the little aero pieces, a lot of good. It's no grip at all.
Mate, you shouldn't give me the soft tyres. Straight for hard.
Norris has gone off as well on the slicks.
That looks like a technical issue though, doesn't it? It looks like he's just retiring from the race, no?
Oh, no.
Oh, we got another spinner there while we're watching that.
I've lost power. I've lost power. Gear 6 gone. I've lost power.
What will they do with Leclerc and Hamilton when they come in? You've got to put soft tyres on from what we're seeing out there. And Leclerc pits now, so we're about to find out.
And Stroll's got going
soft
again.
Tyres for Leclerc.
Soft tyres for Charles Leclerc. Hamilton continues to lead this race. Charles Leclerc is in second place at the moment, and Charles Leclerc is going to keep that second place even after this pit stop, because Bottas and Verstappen are just coming around the final corner now. This could be interesting, Ted, because the virtual safety car ended just as Lewis Hamilton came in. That is a longer stop than you'd normally expect. Leclerc's going through turn 14.
The right front wasn't ready for some reason.
Charles Leclerc coming now round. Oh, Charles Leclerc's gone out, gone right and gone out. Leclerc has gone into the barriers at the penultimate turn, and a second Ferrari in the space of 2 races here at the German Grand Prix has ended up into the barriers. It was Sebastian Vettel last year, it's Charles Leclerc this year, and that car looks beached, and his hopes of a great result this afternoon have slid away. No grip really there. Try and keep off the curbs if you can.
Oh, he had a tiny bit of understeer, and now it's just going to skate straight into the barriers. It wasn't exactly pushing that hard, it just snapped to the back. He had to countersteer, to turn into the slide.
No!
And I think Lewis Hamilton's gone off as well, but he's carried on.
He's lost his front wing, hasn't he?
There's damage to the front wing, certainly. Hamilton went off at exactly the same spot. As you can see, managed to keep going. Our race leader now into the pits needs a new front wing.
Box, I lost the front wing.
Yeah, coming in. Inter. You want Inter?
Yes.
Valtteri Bottas takes the lead of this race.
They're not ready for him. They weren't expecting him. They didn't know it's happened. They had no idea that it's happened.
Well, they weren't ready for him because he's only come in because of that accident, and I think now they're going to look to get maybe intermediate tyres on as well. They're scrambling around all the while Lewis Hamilton's losing out. Bottas takes the lead. Verstappen now goes into second place. Hulkenberg has just pitted again and moves up into third place, whilst they still work on the car of Lewis Hamilton, who was cruising, it seemed, out in front. But in one split second, Leclerc goes, and Hamilton's chances of victory looks like they're going as well.
They've got to make sure they get the right tyres on it. They're not Bottas's tyres, for example.
Correct.
We've got a mixture of tyres on that car at the moment. And now we've got Inter's back on it now. That's what they're doing. They're changing their mind on the tyres. And of course, when you've got to change the nose, you can't use the front jack, because the front jack jacks up on the nose itself. So Lewis, how skatey that is, and just a little clout of the barrier, but he had some momentum when he hit the barrier, and now he obviously hasn't been able to go around the bollard.
Whoa. Let's take a pause.
I'm just thinking through. I'm trying to think when Verstappen came in and put the Inters on.
I think he came in whilst we were watching Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen slipped in and made his pit stop. Wasn't that a timely pit stop for Max Verstappen, who a couple of laps before Hamilton and Leclerc did their business had his own spin as well. Verstappen leads them over the line then from Nico Hulkenberg in his home Grand Prix, running in second place. Valtteri Bottas started third, is running third. Alex Albon has Lewis Hamilton behind him, then Carlos Sainz. Sebastian Vettel's making a move on Pierre Gasly's got to stay behind the Red Bull for just a little bit longer, and Gasly's got to try and get some heat into those tyres once again, as Giovinazzi now coming at Sebastian Vettel, and then Danny Kvyat, and then you've got Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean scrapping away in the two Hasses right at the rear of the field as well. Onwards, down towards the hairpin we go. Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Albon, Sainz thinking about a move on Hamilton. Is he going to go down the inside? Not on this occasion. Vettel's going to look down the inside on Pierre Gasly. There's a 5-second time penalty for Lewis Hamilton for going the wrong side of the bollard. Vettel gets past Pierre Gasly and makes his way up into 8th place.
Yeah, Gasly just passed him, that's why. So he's got that position back again.
And it's also not getting any better for Hamilton in the steward's room potentially as well, because he's under investigation once again. The stewards, the drivers have a lap that they must adhere to. Hamilton's going to have a go on Albon, is he? Oh, he's just a bit too far back on this occasion. We'll switch through and take that very tight inside line out of the hairpin. Lewis Hamilton getting past Alex Albon, been held up by the Toro Rosso, going wheel to wheel, and then ahead is now Valtteri Bottas right on the tail of Nico Hulkenberg as well. Bottas on Nico Hulkenberg to the hairpin down the inside. Hulkenberg gives that one up, doesn't really fight it. Such was the pace difference between the Mercedes and the Renault. There is the Renault of Nico Hulkenberg, and he's ending his home Grand Prix in the barriers, and another car in the barriers at the final corner. Oh, what a race this is
another
turning
safety
into.
Car. That'll be another safety car then. It's exactly the same situation. He's dug a hole like he's building a sandcastle on the beach on a Sunday afternoon. That's just plain understeered off, hasn't it? And then that's caught him out. And then he actually hitting the brakes was the worst thing he could do at that point.
We've got a gambler on slicks.
Who's
Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll, they're going to be watching the data there to see if it is good for slicks or not. They might as well take a gamble. He's down in 14th place. Look at the difference in the tyres that's helping out Verstappen, but Hamilton in a bit of trouble here, and Alex Albon will go round the outside. Gasly and Sainz waiting behind. Sainz goes down the inside. Now wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton. Albon has lost out. Gasly's waiting to have a go at him. Sainz couldn't quite get past the Mercedes.
Hamilton must have had some kind of issue in turns 2 and 3, because that pack was right on his tail by the time he arrived at 6.
Down the inside of Alex Albon goes Pierre Gasly, and this time he is lighting up his tyres as Albon goes wide. And from 4th, Albon is all the way now down in 7th place and make that 8th as Sebastian Vettel gets past him as well.
And Verstappen then is first of the front runners to go with the slicks.
And there's a whole load more coming in on the slicks as well. Hamilton has stayed out. and leads this race. Raikkonen stayed out, Vettel stayed out, Giovinazzi stayed out. They're the top four. Verstappen back on the track again now, behind Stroll. Stroll is up to 6th place. Lance Stroll, I think, might now, as Hamilton pits as well,
Stroll leads,
be leading the race. The gamble at Racing Point has put Lance Stroll into the lead of the German Grand Prix.
with Verstappen right on his tail.
They are cheering in the grandstands because they can see what's going on here. Danny Kvyat is running in 3rd. Back out onto the racetrack. Hamilton now down in 12th because, of course, he had to serve the 5-second penalty.
Yeah. If it could go wrong, it has gone wrong so far for Lewis, but at least he's still on the track, and Verstappen has retaken the lead from Lance Stroll.
How's it got this bad?
Alex Albon on a slick tyre, getting round Pierre Gasly, forces Gasly wide, and does a very nice move indeed to take 7th place down at the hairpin. Kvyat, by the way, on the soft tyres, just set the new fastest lap of the race.
Kvyat will have DRS, the rear wing opens, the big letterbox in the rear wing opens, and he sails past in the Toro Rosso Honda.
And that is a fight that Lance Stroll would like to carry on for a while, but it wasn't really a fight that he was looking like winning, because the Toro Rosso looks a supercar at the moment.
Sainz flying along nicely as well, keeping up with Bottas, who's closing in on the Racing Point of Stroll.
Someone's gone off, and it's Lewis Hamilton who's gone off at the first corner. Manages to keep the car going, but now only has the Williams of Kubica and Russell behind him.
He's turned in and he's gone round. It's amazing that didn't make the barriers.
Well,
wow, he's just got a little bit wide and touched the wetter part of the track. It's not often you see Lewis making mistakes like that, but that's a driver error.
My God, this guy is incredible. He will never learn.
Oh dear.
What is it doing?
Well, at least they're still running, which is not something you could say after Silverstone last time out, but neither of them have listened to the words of Gunther Steiner in the build-up to this race.
They managed to connect twice on the opening lap in Silverstone. And
oh, and that's sliding out, that's Valtteri Bottas! Bottas is out of the race!
Safety car.
There'll be another safety car here. Oh, and Toto Wolff bangs his fist on the desk in front of him as Valtteri Bottas, pushing hard to catch Lance Stroll, has spun off into the barriers, and this 200th Formula One Grand Prix for Mercedes is one they will want to forget in a hurry. The foot is flat to the floor for Sebastian Vettel. Lance Stroll defends down the inside, goes very early to defend, but is powerless to defend. The speed of the Ferrari carries Sebastian Vettel past, and you're either wearing orange at Hockenheim or you're wearing red at Hockenheim, and it's the red fans that are absolutely loving that one, because the homegrown hero is up into the podium. And they're going wide, that's Gasly. There's a problem there with his front wing.
He tried to overtake the Toro Rosso down into turn 6. I just saw that before. I think they might have touched Crofty. And I think he just runs into the back of him as he pulls to the right.
He does.
No!
Well,
So Albon went for the defence and Gasly was going to the right. They both went right together. Vettel
Danny
now.
Kvyat was in 2nd place, and they love that. Listen to the roar for Sebastian Vettel, 20th up to 2nd, and that might just ease some of the pain and the memories of this time last year, where of course he crashed out in his home Grand Prix. This time around he's replicating Juan Pablo Montoya from 2005, going from 20th all the way up into 2nd place. From front row to victory, and victory to win the German Grand Prix. It is fireworks and flames for Max Verstappen, the winner of the German Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel from 20th to 2nd, and keep the applause going for Danny Kvyat, a 3rd podium in Formula One. Well done to Toro Rosso and to the Russian. Commiserations to Lance Stroll and Racing Point. That is an excellent result for them. They're best in Formula One. It could have been a podium, so near.
Strategic move of the race though. Racing Point. Well done, guys. Amazing stuff.
Mercedes celebrated at their home race And in the end, Toro Rosso, Ferrari and Red Bull stops the juggernauts that was Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Danny Kvyat were there to pick up the pieces, and everybody has a massive smile on their faces at the Hockenheim ring. What a race that was!